What's going on? Vincent Rep, sorry, BigBlueUnbiased.com. Thank you to those who've liked, commented, and subscribed. I really appreciate you guys. Make sure to turn notifications on so every time I post you get a notification and you can come join in on the conversation. So in this video, okay, we will talk about Daniel Jones, what he did well in Sunday's game, okay, and we'll talk other things regarding Daniel Jones. We'll talk about Andrew Thomas, his early struggles. Austin Mack, the Giants have signed Austin Mack from their practice squad. They have waived Damion Ratley. That was news yesterday. And we will get into Devonta Freeman. It's not looking good for Devonta Freeman. Okay, so let's start with Daniel Jones, because why wouldn't we, right? He's the quarterback of the New York Giants. So with Daniel Jones, okay, I said this in my last video, it seems like half the people are done and they want the Giants to go 0-16 and get Trevor Lawrence, and then half the people are saying, well, give Daniel Jones a chance. Look, you can say two things about Daniel Jones at the moment. One, that he needs to play better. And two, that he's not getting the help that he needs from his offensive teammates, which is true. Okay? In terms of pass block win rate, the Giants are one of the worst teams in that category. I will talk about Andrew Thomas in terms of his ability to pass block. Evan Ingram, he is supposed to be a good yards after catch tight end. That's his thing, okay? His average depth of target normally over the course of his career has not been high. So he's a guy who catches it and he runs with it. He is not doing that this season. You look at Golden Tate, he's one of the worst receivers in the league in yards after catch per reception. And that's his game. He's a yak guy. He's a guy who catches shorter passes and turns them into longer passes by catching and running. And he is one of the worst receivers in that category this season. Devonta Freeman, I guess we'll talk about him. Right now, Devonta Freeman, okay, he's really kind of taken over as the Giants' premier running back at the moment. With Saquon Barkley out for the season, he's kind of their guy at the moment. He is last in rush yards over expected per attempt. So essentially, there's an expected amount of yards a ball carrier is supposed to get, right? And that's based on defenders, blocking, the speed of the running back, and whatever it might be. And then there's the actual yardage that they get. He is last per attempt in that category among running backs this season by a wide margin too. So essentially, translation, he's not getting yards that he should be getting. He's only averaging 3.1 yards per carry, and when you look at the Giants' offensive line, okay, they're bad in pass protection. They are. But they're actually 14th in run block win rate. So they're actually performing fairly well in terms of run blocking. So you have to wonder, is it worth continuing to give Devonta Freeman carries as kind of their number one running back? Is it worth doing that when he's obviously not doing what he should be doing behind an improving offensive line in terms of run blocking for the Giants? And like I said, rush yards over expected, worst. Yards per carry, 3.1, that's not good. So either the Giants have to give Wayne Gallman more carries, 5.1 yards per carry on the season for Wayne Gallman. He's not a bad running back. I don't understand why he doesn't get more carries. Or they have to consider other options, if that's Le'Veon Bell. I know every Giants fan hates it because I did a video on it, and everyone hates it. Everyone hates it on Twitter. I don't understand what's there to hate. Okay, it's a one-year deal. If they sign him, let's just say they sign him for a one-year deal. What do you hate about that? I don't get it. Oh, because they're 0-5. Okay, would you continue to want to see them try out Devonta Freeman, who's arguably the worst running back in football, starting caliber running back in football at the moment, and see the young Daniel Jones continue to struggle because he's getting no help? So that kind of goes back to my point, right? There are two things that you can say about Daniel Jones. One, that he's not getting enough help, and two, that he needs to play better. You can say both of those things. They're both true. As a young quarterback, give him good players. You want to give your young quarterback as many good playmakers, as good of an offensive line as possible. A veteran quarterback, you hope, can elevate players. A 10 to 12-year quarterback, you hope, can elevate players. Like Eli Manning and Victor Cruz, right? Elevating a player like Victor Cruz, an undrafted player. But a young quarterback, you want to give him as many pieces as possible to flourish. You don't want to put him behind a bad offensive line with no weapons. That's not good. You're not setting up your franchise investment. You're not setting him up to succeed. So that's what I don't get with the anti-Le'Veon Bell, rhetoric. The young quarterback needs more playmakers. It's obvious. Damion Ratley, Devonta Freeman, these guys were playing major roles for the Giants on Sunday. And Damion Ratley was just waived. But my point is, okay, give your young quarterback playmakers. Put him in a position to succeed. Even if the Giants are 0-5, many are still wondering if Daniel Jones is the franchise quarterback. The idea that, okay, just tank. Well, tell that to Daniel Jones. Tell that to Dave Gettleman. These guys are fighting for their jobs. You think they just want to tank? If the Giants tank and win 2 games, Dave Gettleman is fired. So why would he want to tank? And I'm not saying he should strictly make moves to save his job, but you want to put a potential franchise quarterback in a position to succeed. He had a promising rookie season. Many people liked the way that Daniel Jones performed during his rookie year. So the idea that, okay, that's it, 5 games through the second season and that's it, just tank and get Trevor Lawrence. I'm sure there are many people within the Giants organization that obviously would not want to do that. And I'll end with this regarding Daniel Jones. 4 for 6 on play-action plays Sunday versus the Cowboys. 10 yards per attempt. The Giants should do more of that with Daniel Jones. Okay, so let's move on to Andrew Thomas. Right now, he has allowed 28 pressures. According to Pro Football Focus, 28 pressures, that leads the league among all offensive linemen, and actually that's more than 6 NFL teams, like their offensive line, their entire offensive line, that's more than 6 teams. I'm not going to continue to talk about Andrew Thomas and his struggles. I've talked about it many, many times, how I would have started him at right tackle to start the season, to start his career, especially with no preseason games. I would have started Cam Fleming at left tackle. People think that's crazy. I would have. Because now you're risking potentially ruining him, ruining his confidence. I mean, he's playing a tough position. He's the blind side. He's the blind side protector for the franchise quarterback, and he's been bad. Okay, he's been bad. That's it. It's simple as that. So he's in a tough spot now. He's really, really struggling. And if you're the Giants, you just hope that his confidence doesn't get ruined. So we'll see moving forward if he improves, but that is not a good stat. Now, we talk about the Giants' offensive line a lot. We talk about their struggles. As I brought up earlier in the video, run block win rate, they're actually doing pretty good. 14th in the league. That's a big improvement so far week after week, right? They started off struggling in that category, and they're starting to improve and get better. Will Hernandez is 3rd among guards in run block win rate. And I know a lot of people recently have been very critical of Will Hernandez. And again, you got to be patient with some of these players. Not every player clicks right away. I've brought up the Justin Tuck, Corey Webster comparison. Took them until like their 3rd year to really show their potential. So sometimes be patient with players. Look at Lorenzo Carter. He was really starting to take the next step. Unfortunately, he gets hurt. But Will Hernandez is starting to excel as a run blocker. So I'll finish up with Austin Mack. The Giants signed him off their practice squad. Undrafted player out of Ohio State. Damion Ratley's been waived. Damion Ratley played 50% of snaps for the Giants on Sunday. 1 target, no catches. So it makes sense why the Giants moved on.